There are surrogates who are taking the campaign trail in this last push for Kamala Harris and for Donald Trump, both of whom are taking to the mic in different ways. You know, the Al Smith dinner, the interview and sit down at Fox News. These are things that the respective candidates have done. And then you have the surrogates out on the trail. I think one of the big surrogates who has emerged for Kamala Harris, in addition to Obama and others, like Pete Buttigieg comes to mind, is Mark Cuban. Cuban's very good. I think he's best in interview situations. I actually don't think Cuban has the same, for example, comfort with the stump that like an Obama has. Now, you may be able to say, well, very few people have the same comfort as Obama. But I really am impressed with, A, the cred he has when it comes to economics, right? Because he's an entrepreneur who is successful. And the audience gives him cred as a result of the visibility he's had on Shark Tank, et cetera. It's a weird kind of parallel because, you know, Trump had visibility and he gets cred based on The Apprentice, which was all fake. The Apprentice was a created image that was associated with building up Donald Trump, who's a failed businessman. You can read this, Google it. There was a long New Yorker piece, even before the 2016 election, in which much of what Trump's history was beset by, which was failure, is detailed. Okay, and then subsequently there have been books written on it, David K. Johnston among those who have chronicled that. So anyway, we get back to Mark Cuban, who is successful, right? He is transparent. He's not trying to spin an image more than we've seen, of course, in all of these public forums. So he's out on the stump, and he is the surrogate. And then I'll get to Elon Musk for Trump, but he's a surrogate for Kamala Harris. Go ahead, Tony, do you have that ready to go? Here's a little bit of Mark Cuban on the stump for Harris, talking about tariffs and the fact that Trump doesn't even understand, still to this moment, what tariffs really do. Go ahead.
You know, in my career, I've learned a lot about business, including how tariffs work. Now, let me just ask you a question. Do you all know anybody who doesn't know how tariffs work? All right, I'll give you a hint. That other guy. Now, he has this crazy notion that putting a tariff of 60% on every single product imported from China is a good idea. Let me just tell you, this man has so little understanding of tariffs, he thinks that China pays for them. This is the same guy who also thought that Mexico would pay for the wall, so there's no Mexico. Did Mexico pay for that wall? Hell no, you said it wrong. Hell no. That's what I'm talking about. You know, we all know that across-the-board tariffs are a tax on everybody. All the major economists have said so. Kamala has talked about it over and over again. But, you know, I'm going to give him a little bit of credit. I honestly think that he used to understand how tariffs work. I mean, back in the 90s and the early 2000s, he was a little bit coherent when he talked about trade policy, and he actually made a little bit of sense. But I don't know what happened to him. The way he's been thinking about tariffs and trade now, something's a little bit lost. And now his trade policies, particularly with tariffs, are basically just gibberish. Do you hear what I'm saying? Thank you. But wait, it gets worse. When it comes to tariffs with Donald Trump, it gets a lot worse. Hear me. I'm sounding like Colin. Hear me when I say that Donald Trump wants you to have a lousy Christmas. Donald Trump is that Grinch, the Grinch that wants to steal your Christmas.
Okay, we can stop this because essentially what this is, and I saw all of this, it's a run-up on the fact that once you impose these tariffs, you won't be able to afford essentially anything for Christmas. You won't be able to afford Christmas ornaments. You won't be able to afford Christmas decorations. You won't be able to afford Christmas gifts because much of this, or at least components for all those things, come from China. And because there'll be high tariffs, these things will just be priced such that you just won't be able to buy them anymore. I actually didn't love his, and as long as I can't help it but be this critique guy. That's just what I do. I critique myself. I critique others. And in the case of Mark Cuban, I have to say, I think he was going for a few things there, and like he went for this Grinch thing. Maybe some people helped him cobble together talking points. I would have liked a little more coherence or a little more of a succinct quality to what he was going for. But I loved what he was doing. You could see there was almost a call and response thing that he had sort of happened upon. But I feel like if you had given me a week with Mark Cuban on the stump with some run through stump stuff, it could have been even better. But it doesn't matter. He is Mark Cuban.
You could have trained him?
I'm saying that I could have given a couple of notes to him. That's all I'm trying to say. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He'd probably
I thought
say
he was great. He came off as totally genuine.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Genuine's great, but you can also pack a message into genuine, and that can be even greater. But again, I'm sure for most people it was terrific. So as Kim says, it was great. So that is Mark Cuban on the stump. When he folded in that kind of Trump is not really who he was. He kind of doesn't make any sense anymore. He's never made sense, okay? I didn't like he used to make sense on trade, and now he doesn't because he's kind of losing it. I didn't love that little run, but all right. Anyway, that's one of the surrogates, and Cuban is an effective surrogate for Kamala Harris. He makes sense. As I say, his very best environment isn't an interview environment. I don't really feel as though he's super terrific on the stump. We saw him just there on the stump. But as Kim has just noted, a lot of people just go, oh my God, he's terrific. He's so authentic. He's real. And I think that, may carry the day. And as it, is intended, he may actually sway some people as a result. But I just think when you're looking for the soundbite, you want the Cuban who's in interviews. He's given great soundbites on Trump. Now, to the other side, Elon Musk is the surrogate for Donald Trump. He's not only a surrogate. I mean, these surrogates go out and they essentially rep for the candidate on the stump and in different forums, usually media forums or one sort or another.
Musk is acting like he's the vice presidential nominee.
Right. And Musk, Kim makes a very good point. He's speaking like a politician, and Musk is bankrolling a ton of what Donald Trump's last gasp at this presidential shot is all about, meaning most of the ground game is being funded by Elon Musk. So we have Musk on the stump, and as Kim said, he's sort of this, he's a candidate now. He can see he's loving being on the solo with the MAGA crowd, who are all very much not only Trumpian, but they're super MAGA / QAnon, meaning everything's a conspiracy, deep state, it's all that stuff. And Musk is sort of like just riding the wave. You can see it. Go ahead, Tony, run a little bit.
The question is, do you think there is a shadow government behind the Biden-Harris administration?
I mean, well, let me put it this way. It's not Biden. We know that for a fact. Okay. The dude has barely got 2 functional neurons. So, it's like, and he just seems to be at the beach.
So
he's obviously not in
that's
charge.
His whole thing. He's basically doing a Trump. He can't he's got 2 functional neurons. He's at the beach all the time. I can do more push-ups than he can, whatever. The Biden administration has had, I thought, terrific competence around a number of different things. Now, you might have policy disagreements with him, but I think this idea that he's a blithering idiot and doesn't know where he is, I mean, come on. It's just not true. On the other hand, you're allowed to say it, and you're allowed to make that the cornerstone, essentially, of your campaign. They clearly wanted to run against Joe Biden. Let's hear a little bit more, Tony. I'm sorry to cut out. I just was adding.
I mean, when the polls started going low on Biden, he was saying, oh, he's staying in the race, but then I guess the real powers that be told him he's not, It's like...
So who is it that's behind him? We know Obama, okay, but Obama...
I mean, I'm just as curious as you are. It is as far as I can determine, there isn't any one sort of puppet master. It's more like there's 1,000 or, I don't know, a lot. But I mean, I'd like to talk to them to understand more about, listen, what are your goals, puppet masters? I'm just curious.
Well, here's the irony
of
of this. This is a remarkable moment, and I hope you'll remember this moment. The irony of what he's saying and puppet mastership, ruling the day. The irony is, and I'll take care of this shadow. Sorry about that. The light changes here on remote. The irony is, ma'am, you're talking to the deep state. Your question about who runs America, do you think there really is a shadow government? And she asked this question, which is very QAnon, right? There is no truth to the shadow government stuff, that Obama is still the president pulling the strings. You heard her kind of allude to that. She's speaking to an oligarch. You understand, Elon Musk is an oligarch. He is a powerful, wealthy man. He and those like him, they run policy in America. America is bought and paid for by big money oligarchs. Now, it is not a complete captured oligarchy yet, but they own Supreme Court justices, they own senators, they own representatives, they own presidents. Trump actually spoke before the oligarchical group of people associated with big oil. And he said, write the legislation and I will institute it. Give me $1 billion. And it is done. He said this. America, once Citizens United went down, and the Supreme Court essentially has argued that money is speech, you've opened the door to the oligarchy. So now the people with the most money and the concerns and organizations and businesses and corporations with the most money who direct it into politics, they'll get the most results. They expect something for their money. So back to Elon Musk. She's asking Elon Musk, who's really in control? What's the story? I know Obama's in control. No, ma'am, Musk is in control. You say, well, Mark, what are you talking about? He's not Biden's friend. He's campaigning for a candidate who's not yet in office. I mean, he must not be in control. No. He's in control. He wants more control. He has power. He wants more power. He wants what few regulations he actually has to deal with. He wants them rolled back. He wants the tax benefits that he already takes advantage of, massive tax benefits through Tesla and SpaceX, etc. These are gargantuan. He wants them increased. The way you do that is in this oligarchical manner. You throw more money at this guy Trump, who is open for business 24 hours a day, and in that way you take more power. I thought that question was so revelatory, but she didn't realize how revelatory it was. It was really as though she doesn't really understand her own country. So Elon Musk is a power broker, and no one that wealthy with those kinds of relationships and connections to the American government isn't already in a lot of control. We talked about this before. As regulatory agencies try to go after him for taxes, et cetera, you can't do it. You can't do it. He's too big.
A couple of bucks coming in from No Contendo, who says, Tesla shareholders, y'all let this full tank stock.
Yeah, well, that's another thing he does. He makes statements and sweeping statements of all sorts to affect stock. I mean, he gets away with this. These are prosecutable offenses when it comes to stock, when it comes to stock manipulation and announcements like that. And the government has even made rumblings, but they're just rumblings because the government of the United States needs his technology too much to make him a real enemy. So that's why I say he's really uncontrollable. But it's so funny to me that, he's got this image of the rebel and I don't know who's in control, et cetera, when the reality is he can get a meeting with anybody he wants, anytime he wants, because of the power that he has.
I could see him on stage getting a taste for it and somehow maybe wanting to be the next Trump and running for president. And I was thanking the Lord last night, or whomever, that he was born in South Africa. I'm like, thank goodness he's not.
Yeah, but he can't be right. He can't by Constitution. He can't
somehow
be.
That rule. Thank you for that rule. Yes.
He's scary, and for many, he is an effective surrogate because he's rich. And in this country, we give a lot of credence and a lot of credit to those who are rich. We just sort of assume that they're successful and they know something the rest of us don't. When most of the time, a lot of these wealthy guys, and I use guys generically, but so many of them are men for all the reasons that we've detailed in the past, they just let their capital build. I mean, once you have a lot of money, you can just live on the capital, on the interest so it's there are a lot of instruments, I might want to say, that will make you even wealthier without you ever having to do anything, if you want to think of it that way.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell, you'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.